Kari and number 3 strut into the workroom and strike a few poses for the main camera before bursting into laughter. The rest of the queens follow, with Maximus, Ventress, and Rita clearly trying to refrain from saying anything shady.
It's a new day in the workroom, and I'm both rejuvenated and ready to vomit if I have to watch these queens play best friends for another damn episode. Still, I was in the top last week, and now I have 2 new allies in my back pocket. The next Maxi Challenge win is mine. I'd be able to see it in my crystal ball if production hadn't confiscated it.
The queens gather around the center of the workroom, and 3 says that she can't believe 2 sisters have already left the competition. Eva replies that she wishes Quasimodo was still here, and Maximus promptly scoffs, noting that Eva would have gone home first if Quasimodo had stayed, which he personally wouldn't have hated. Kari interrupts, adding that she can't wait for Maximus to go home, and Ventress immediately turns on her, telling Kari that it's wild for the most underwhelming queen in the room to comment on someone else's potential elimination. Kari looks between Maximus and Ventress before replying that she just sent one annoying bitch home and will gladly eliminate either of them next.
I mean it too. I showed every queen in this room what I can do during a lip sync, so if either of them wants to perform against me, I dare them to try. However, I find it a little curious that Ventress was so quick to jump to Maximus's defense.
I'm annoyed that the bitching has already started even though half of us haven't been able to get a single word in edgewise. And after everything that happened during Kari's critiques last week, I'm not sure that fighting with Maximus and Ventress is the best move.
Sensing a pause in the conversation, Deoxys asks the other queens what they hope this week's Maxi Challenge will be. Eva says that she'd like a choreography challenge, and Toph nods her head in agreement. 3 adds that she'd be thrilled if they were doing the Snatch game this week, which causes the other queens to direct alarmed looks her way.
She actually wants to do the Snatch game this week? I can't tell if 3 is insane or if she just really wants to see me get eliminated.
I meant what I said. Improv is my specialty, and I'd love to take on a challenge as intense as the Snatch game. Either way, I'll do my best to secure another top placement this week.
Once 3 has explained her reasoning to the group, Rita cuts in, stating that she is personally hoping for a team challenge, which Ventress quickly echoes. Most of the other queens glance at Rita and Ventress, but before anyone can question them, the workroom siren blares and Pegasus's face appears on the monitor.
My gorgeous top 10. I hope that our first ever comedy show didn't leave you feeling too tired, because I promise that the fun has just begun. For this week's mini challenge, I want you all to get into your best country quick drag. Then, we're going to have a good old-fashioned hoedown to determine who among you has the most rootness tootness dance moves. A fitting challenge for the most questionable group of hoes I know, don't you think?
Maximus won the mini challenge and will receive an advantage in this week's Maxi Challenge.
Oh, the look on some of these queens' faces when they heard I was getting an advantage was hilarious. And before any of you bitches at home ask, yes, I intend to be as messy and mean about this as possible. Got a problem with that? Then write me a letter or something.
My queens, for this week's main challenge, you are going to bring it to the runway in the best looks that you can create using some very special materials. Actually, I think it might be easier if I explain this in person. It's so nice to be with you all in the flesh. And wow, did this workroom get bigger? That RuPaul money really makes a difference. Anyway, the materials that you're going to use for this week's runway challenge are going to require you to take a chance and roll the dice. Yes, my dears, you will each be making a look out of materials inspired by one of 10 Dungeons & Dragons classes. Maximus, as the winner of this week's mini challenge, you will be responsible for assigning each queen their box. Would you mind joining me?
Mother, I would be honored.
Excellent. And before I forget, oh pit crew. Flynn, darling, it's so wonderful to see you again. Maximus, as you can see, these 10 boxes each have a symbol representing a Dungeons & Dragons class. The Barbarian, the Bard, the Cleric, the Druid, the Paladin, the Monk, the Rogue, the Sorcerer, the Wizard, and the Warlock. First, you will assign a box to yourself, and then you will assign boxes to your sisters. I'm sure they're just dying to find out what you'll be giving them.
Somehow, I suspect that you're more excited than they are, Pegasus. The Paladin box will give me just the right materials to be the majestic sleigh pony that I know I am. Right now, I'm focused on giving my allies the boxes that they want without being too obvious. I can see Rita eyeing the Sorcerer box, but I think I'll wait to assign her materials. Mother, I'd like the Paladin box.
All right, Maximus. The Paladin box is yours. Which of your sisters would you like to assign materials to next?
Ventress, you're up first, and I know exactly which box I'll be giving you.
I've had my eyes locked on the rogue box from the moment the options were revealed, and I think that Maximus has noticed. This alliance is already starting to pay off.
Ventress, I'll let you play around with the materials in the rogue box. Let's see how well they match your style.
2 boxes down and several more to go. Maximus, who's up next?
Number 3, let's go with you.
I'm not expecting anything good to come from this since Maximus and I haven't really been on the best of terms. I just want him to get on with his decisions so I can see what materials I'll be working with.
Sister, it's truly difficult to decide which box of materials I want to subject to your god-awful drag. But what about the barbarian box? Yeah, I like the sound of that.
That's 3 boxes assigned. Maximus, you know the drill.
This queen is still here for some reason, so I guess I should give her a box. Kari, you're up.
Maximus barely even looked at me when he called my name. If he thinks that he can write me off because of last week, then he's got another thing coming.
Pegasus, do we have any paper bags on standby for Kari to breathe into? I'd hate for her to have another little episode when she finds out what I've assigned her. Since your drag could use some healing energy, why don't you take the cleric box?
4 classes declared. Who's next?
He's a ballroom legend, and not just because his lashes love to vogue as much as he does. Arku, it's your turn.
Maximus and I haven't interacted much, so I'm not sure what box he's going to assign me. However, I'm hopeful that he won't try to sabotage me since we haven't gotten into it this season. Yet.
Arku, considering that your mug could have only been inspired by a hideous alien. Sorry, Deoxys, a different hideous alien.
Get your camera time while you still can, sweetie.
Arku, I think the Warlock box is perfect for you.
5 boxes down and 5 to go. Maximus, who do you volunteer as tribute next?
I can only hope that this Queen's runway will be as hilarious as her stand-up set last week. Terra, you're up.
Maximus can be messy and assign me whatever he wants. We all saw what happened to the last queen who let this power go to their head when handing out runway materials. I'm just saying.
Terra, I'm really just giving you this box so that Toph can't have it. Let's see how you look as a druid.
Our options are getting fewer and fewer, but we aren't done yet. Maximus, who's next?
This queen has already proven that she has horrible runways, can't act, and isn't funny, so I'm excited to see how bad she is at sewing. Eva, you're up.
His comments are rude, but he isn't wrong. I've fallen on my face every time that I've stepped onto the main stage, and I don't know how to change that this week.
Eva, the main difference between you and this class is that bards make people laugh with them, whereas you make people laugh at you. With that in mind, I'm assigning you the bard box because I know that whatever you make will be the biggest joke on the runway.
Only 3 boxes left. Maximus, who is our next lucky contestant?
This queen calls himself the alien superstar of drag, and I think it's time we test that theory. Deoxys, you're up.
I'm not worried about this challenge in the slightest. I love all 3 of the remaining boxes, and I know that I can make a killer garment inspired by any of them.
Deoxys, we've seen you serve looks on the runway, but you still haven't snagged a spot in the top. I'm going to give you the wizard box. Let's see if you can weave enough magic to land yourself a high placement.
2 boxes left, and I'm running out of fun lines. Maximus, let's get this show on the road.
Between the 2 remaining queens, I'll pick the one who's probably used to being everyone's last choice. Toph, you're up.
I'm really torn between wanting the monk and the sorcerer boxes. The monk box is more my style, but I feel like giving Rita the sorcerer box, which will fit her aesthetic like a glove, isn't great for the rest of us. I'm curious to see what Maximus decides, especially since he and Rita are pretty close.
Toph, although I wish for the absolute worst for you and your crunchy wigs, I'll throw you a bone this week with the monk box. Now can you manage to work an actual heal into your damn runway?
Rita Repulsa, that leaves you with the sorcerer box.
Everything is going perfectly. Maximus assigned our alliance boxes that complemented our aesthetics, and he was fairly low-key in giving us exactly what we wanted. Now, we just need to maintain this momentum for the rest of the challenge.
Ladies, now that all 10 boxes have been assigned, it's time for you all to get to work on your garments for tonight's challenge. See you on the runway.
Maximus, Rita Repulsa, and Asajj Ventress gather around the same workstation, each opening their box of materials and eagerly rifling through them. Rita praises Maximus and Ventress for agitating most of the other queens this morning, adding that setting Eva and Kari on edge will make it easier for them to trim the fat this season. Ventress leans forward, stating that she's glad they locked in their alliance and believes they can all make it to the end with each other's help. Rita agrees, and after a short delay, Maximus nods as well.
We are the beautiful people, and we are here to fix Toon World, one ugly queen at a time.
The trio begins to work on their garments, each moving at a steady pace as they sketch their designs and start to sew. Maximus chuckles, remarking that if either of them can't sew, they had better not hold any delusions that he'll help salvage their looks. Rita scoffs, stating that she's been making her own costumes since she started doing drag. She adds that if anyone should be asking for help designing a look, it's Maximus.
I've personally created all of my looks for every show that I've ever done. I only hire designers to style my background dancers, and you can bet your ass that I made every single look I brought to this season. Edna mode. Put your teeth back in, lift your chin from the tapioca pudding, and listen to me. A new supreme seamstress has arrived.
The three queens banter playfully for several minutes before fully locking in on their work. Ventress and Rita look away to focus on their sewing, but Maximus stares at the duo for a long moment before eventually averting his gaze.
Let me make this clear right now. I'm here to ride Rita, Ventress, and this whole beautiful people alliance crap as far as it will take me in this competition. If either of them thinks that I'm going to throw myself on a sword to save them out of loyalty, then they're even dumber than Eva looks.
Deoxys, Terra, Aku, and Eva are all gathered around the same cluster of sewing machines, each working on their garments. Deoxys and Aku are making steady progress, while Terra and Eva seem to be lagging behind.
Alright, I won't beat around the bush. I'm that queen you scream at every season because they don't know how to sew. I've tried to learn, but my skills are basic at best. I'm a hot glue gun girly, and I'm hoping that will be enough to keep me out of the bottom this week.
Aku looks at Deoxys and praises the design he's begun outlining, inquiring how long he's known how to sew. Deoxys replies that sewing was actually his gateway into drag and the club scene because he made a lot of garments for the early generation Pokémon queens. Eventually, he began designing his own looks and decided to pursue a career in drag.
At the dawn of time, before I even knew what drag was, sewing was my passion. I loved trying to emulate the high-fashion glamour looks I saw on European runways, and as I grew more confident, I began to put my own twist on them.
Aku nods before turning to Eva and asking how she's doing with her garment, noting that she's barely sorted through the colorful array of fabrics in her box. Eva shrugs, stating that although she doesn't really know what she's going to do for her look, she doubts the judges will like it regardless.
I feel bad for Eva. She wasn't the nicest queen when we all met, but it's hard to see her look so defeated. I'll try to get her on track, but I need to be careful not to fall into the same trap as Kari last week.
Floating over, Aku starts to pull out a few untouched swaths of fabric from Eva's box. He drapes them in front of her and stresses that if Eva can at least make a garment she's proud of, then that's worth more than slaying the challenge. Eva shakes her head, insisting that she doesn't want Aku to waste his time, but he tells her to shush and begins to outline a potential garment. Meanwhile, Deoxys glances over at Terra, who has completely abandoned her sewing machine and is struggling with a hot glue gun. Gliding over, Deoxys asks Terra if he can show her something that might help. Blinking for a moment, Terra looks down at the garment that she's struggling to hold together before giving Deoxys a quick nod.
I guess neither Aku, nor I, can stand to watch a sister struggle. I suppose that I can spare a few minutes if it gets Terra to put down that god-awful glue gun.
Deoxys leads Terra over to his sewing machine and gives her a 15-minute tutorial on how to use its most basic settings. He clarifies that he didn't give the most comprehensive overview, but Terra should at least be able to follow what he showed her to make her look and present something finished to the judges. Terra gives Deoxys a genuine smile and thanks him for his help before beginning to sew the final parts of her garment together. It's clearly a struggle at first, but she soon falls into a steady, awkward rhythm.
Deoxys didn't give me an Edna mode masterclass in sewing, but he showed me how to thread a needle and work the machine in front of me. I know that my garment isn't very pretty, but it isn't falling apart, and I think the styling I've done will really help it shine.
Toph, Kari, and 3 unpack their boxes at the same workstation and begin to sketch their designs. After a moment, 3 looks at Kari and asks her how she's doing after last week's critiques and Untucked. Kari shrugs, stating that she's fine now that she's had some time to sleep on everything that happened and reflect on the feedback she got from Pegasus and Mai on the main stage.
I felt really overwhelmed during last week's critiques. I've watched my drag sister and my drag daughter shine in their seasons, so it's hard for me to accept that what I've been presenting has been missing the mark. More than anything, I'll be putting myself first from here on out instead of spending so much time helping my sisters.
I really want to believe that Kari is fine and is coming into this week with a fire in her eyes, but I'm just not seeing it. She looks shaky, she hasn't sketched much of her design, and she doesn't seem like she's convinced herself that she's locked in, even if that's what she's telling me in Toph.
3 apologizes to Kari again for taking up so much of her time in the last challenge, and Kari insists that 3 has nothing to apologize for, but clarifies that, going forward, she won't be offering any help in the workroom, which 3 states is understandable. Nodding, Kari turns to Toph, who has been laser-focused on her sewing machine, and asks about her progress. Toph glances towards Kari and 3 and lifts a ruffled piece of fabric for them to see, stating that her design is coming along quite nicely.
For me, the idea of creating my own looks was actually one of the most appealing aspects of doing drag. Being blind, I mostly see life through what I can feel and sense in my environment. Learning how to construct a garment solely through touch was difficult, but I'm told that my looks now tend to turn out very well.
Kari and 3 compliment Toph on her outfit, stating that it's amazing how much she's put together in such a short time. Toph thanks them, and the 3 continue to chat and bond, each working at a steady pace until production announces that it's time for the Maxi Challenge.
Welcome to the main stage of Cartoon Drag Race Toon World Season 2. Allow me to introduce our stunning panel of judges. First, she's our resident judge and the mother of Toon World. It's Mai Valentine. Next, we have our special guest judge, the ranger with the sharpest bow in Exandria, a drag icon who has opened doors for Dungeons & Dragons queens worldwide. It's Vexalia Vessa. This week, we asked our queens to bring it to the runway in outfits they constructed, using materials inspired by 10 D&D classes. So tonight, category is Dungeons & Drag Queens. Vex, it's an honor to have you with us.
Oh darling, I know it is. Any chance you'd be willing to make this little arrangement a permanent thing?
Not unless you feel like rolling for initiative right now. This is my gig.
Rita Repulsa slayed the challenge.
I'm serving you Sorceress Supreme in high fashion with my look tonight. I've constructed a beautifully tailored floor-length gown, a massive headpiece and jeweled staff, and my makeup is the epitome of supervillain glamour. I look like I belong on a runway in Milan or Paris.
Aku, Deoxys, Maximus, Number 3, Kari, Asajj Ventress, and Toph had a great performance.
I'm giving Wizard from Beyond the Stars, an intergalactic deity from another galaxy. I've got on a long and flowy bodysuit with a lined cape that breaks into a train as it hits the floor and glides behind me. My makeup is a combination of blue, white, and purple to really serve that cosmic glamour. I look out of this world, and I know the judges were impressed.
I'm serving full glam pony, and you already know that I'm the best steed in Her Majesty's secret, Hervus. I'm decked out in several different types of gold plating encrusted with an array of stunning jewels. My mug is gold and white, framed by rhinestone blinders that complete the whole look. I feel exquisite, and I know the judges couldn't keep their eyes off me.
I was a little worried about applying my brand of drag to the barbarian materials I was given, but I really love what I put together. There were a lot of animal furs and prints in my box, so I plastered them all over a fitted two-piece, covered it in rings and chains, and splattered the entire garment with red and green paint. I'm truly serving adorable savage huntress realness.
The look I constructed is actually an homage to my drag sister Aang and his Air nomad heritage. I've donned a bald cap and covered it with painted versions of their traditional tattoos. I've also created a gorgeous, deconstructed gown with a huge ruffled collar made entirely from the materials in my box. The judges might read me for going shoeless on the runway, but I think it fits my concept perfectly.
Terra and Eva had a good performance.
I appreciate Deoxys for trying to help me put something together, but even I know this outfit is a mess. I attempted to create a bodysuit that made it look like I was literally wrapped in the earth, but there's so much fabric and other crap hanging from my arms and waist that I can barely see my shape. Plus, I keep tripping over my train as I walk, so I'm rushing to get off the stage before I break my face.
I hate my outfit tonight. I knew going in that the color and overall style of the fabric I was given would not be a good match for my drag. I don't like the way my top hangs on this corset. I am sure that the judges are going to read me for my poorly fitted skirt, and I just want to finish this presentation and move on to critiques.
Eva, Maximus, Rita Repulsa, Terra, and Toph, you all represent the tops and bottoms of the week. Aku, Kari, number 3, Deoxys, and Asajj Ventress. You are all safe and may go untuck backstage. Now it's time for critiques. Terra, please step forward. Start us off.
Terra, you were assigned the druid box, and given that the materials were already similar to your usual aesthetic, I was expecting a lot more from you. The entire look just needs to be edited. There's so much material hanging around your waist. There's netting in your hair, there's a train, and then your boots are covered in fur. It's too much and reading as visual white noise to me. I think you needed to take a step back, remove 3 elements, and re-evaluate from there.
Your runways so far have ranged from good to fair, but this is the first time that we're really seeing you stumble in the competition. The whole look is messy. I can see the patches of hot glue and stitching that are struggling to hold the garment together, and the mass of attached fabric is swallowing you up on the runway. This was a big miss for me tonight.
I was nervous watching you walk the runway because I could tell that you didn't have much practice moving with that train, and at times it seemed like you were going to fall and crack your face on the stage. Darling, my biggest note for you is to cut parts of your look that you don't have time to test before you walk on stage. You could have made the look more cohesive by cutting the train.
All right, Toph, please step forward.
Toph, from the ankle up, I lived for everything that you presented tonight. I love the big ruffled collar, I love the dress, and I love the painted tattoos. Honestly, everything that you constructed is lovely. However, choosing not to wear a shoe and instead walking out in your pantyhose like a web-footed duck nearly made my jaw unhinge. I understand that it was true to your concept, but next time, at least give me a sandal or a strappy heel.
I was pleased to see you flex your skills as a seamstress in this challenge, especially since this silhouette is not something that I'd expect you to be able to turn out so quickly. Your look is probably the most unique on that stage tonight. It's a little more conceptual than what you've shown so far, and I think you did a great job.
My biggest note for you is that I wish you had applied more makeup to that gorgeous mug. You're not quite at chapstick and mascara levels of minimalist, and I'm choosing to believe that you went this simple because of the box you were assigned. That said, this is a drag competition, so we should be able to see your paint from the next lot down.
All right, Rita Repulsa, please step forward.
Rita, this is a total slay for me tonight. I love the elaborate draping around the headpiece, the staff, the ruching you incorporated into the garment, and that you actually made a set of matching boots. Everything is cohesive, clean, and as grand as I have grown to expect from you in this competition. Wonderful work.
Although you were assigned a box of materials that already fit your brand, I appreciate that you didn't allow yourself to take it easy this week. Your outfit is majestic, tells me everything that I need to know about you as a performer, and has your signature wicked touch. You really hit it out of the park tonight. Fabulous job.
I have no notes. Everything about your look is absolute perfection, and I'm stunned that you made it yourself. I also like that you paid attention to the small details with your jewelry, your mug, and your shoes to ensure that everything about your presentation screamed high glamour. Lovely job, darling.
Eva, please step forward.
Eva, your garment failed to fulfill the prompt tonight. Bards are meant to be whimsical and vibrant characters, and so this more morose take on the materials didn't really translate. The garment doesn't fit your body properly, the hairline on that wig is messy, and this just feels like a big step backwards for you after your stunning runway last week.
From the moment that you walked on stage, I could tell that your confidence was shot. The fire that I saw in your eyes during the first week of competition was completely gone, and it was like you wanted to avoid making eye contact with any of the judges. Even beyond this look, it feels like you've given up on yourself.
One thing that I would encourage you to consider in future looks is to choose colors that complement your skin tone. Yellows, oranges, and even a nice shade of purple could have really helped to accentuate your eyes and make the entire garment stand out a little more.
And to round off the night, Maximus, please step forward.
Maximus, I was really impressed by the regality and poise that you brought to your presentation. I love the white draping that billows behind you as you walk. I love your headpiece, and I love how your armor and jewels hit the light just right. Fabulous job.
Your looks have been a bit hit or miss in this competition, so I'm happy to say that this might be the strongest garment we've seen you present so far. It clearly suits your brand, is well tailored, and makes you stand out from the other strong garments on the runway tonight. Wonderful work.
I want to give you a lot of praise for your makeup. You blended several light colors together but managed to avoid washing out your complexion or appearing garish the second that the lights hit you. You clearly know how to paint for both a live audience and the camera, which is a remarkable skill to have in your back pocket.
All right, ladies, before we make our final decisions, I have a very important question for all of you. Who should go home tonight, and why? Eva, please step forward.
I think that Tara should go home tonight. Up until now, she has been doing pretty well in the competition, even winning last week's challenge, so her lackluster performance stands out in a particularly bad way.
Thank you. Rita Repulsa, who should go home tonight, and why?
Eva should go home tonight. She's been dragged through these challenges since the first week, and I just don't think she's on the same level as the rest of us.
Thank you. Maximus, who should go home tonight and why?
Eva, because I was gagged that she made it past the audition phase from the moment that I first saw her crunchy drag in the workroom. She lacks charisma, uniqueness, talent, and the only nerve she's shown is her audacity to look that ugly on the main stage.
Thank you. Tara, who should go home tonight and why?
I really don't want to make her feel like I'm just piling on.
Say it! It's fine!
Okay. I think that Eva should go home tonight because she's the weakest queen left in the competition at this stage.
Thank you. Toph, who should go home tonight and why?
I think that Maximus should go home tonight because he's talked massive amounts of shit to almost every queen in this competition but is still lacking the win to back it up. Also, he's just really annoying.
The feeling's mutual, sweetie. I'm still waiting for that heel.
I'll shove a heel right up your...
All right, ladies, thank you for your honesty. After sharing our critiques and carefully considering your feedback, the judges and I have made some decisions. Toph, tonight your monk runway really unblocked the judges' chakras. You are safe and may go untucked backstage.
Being back in the top feels fantastic, but right now I'm just trying to get off the stage before I chuck my staff at Maximus's fat head.
Maximus, tonight your paladin purified us all. You are safe and may go untucked backstage.
Toph trying to call me out in front of the judges was cute, and I hope she's proud of herself because it's going to bite her in the ass next week. I would have loved to win this challenge just to rub her face in it, but I'll take another spot in the top, since it's where I belong.
Rita Repulsa, tonight your sorceress reigned supreme. Congratulations, you are the winner of this week's challenge.
Hearing Pegasus call me the winner of this challenge feels correct. I look fantastic, definitely better than any of the other queens on that stage tonight, and I honestly think I should have had at least one more win by now. Oh, was that too vain? Good.
Eva, tonight your bard played a lute with broken strings. I'm sorry, my dear, but you are up for elimination. Terra, the judges felt that your druid got lost in the woods. I'm sorry, my dear, but you are up for elimination.
I'm a performer, and I can dance the house down, but I'm not sure how I'll get around with all this material on my outfit. I can tell you one thing though, the stage will be an absolute mess after this lip sync.
I honestly feel numb walking into this lip sync, especially after almost everyone said that I should go home. I'm just waiting for the music to start so that I can get this over with.
The lip sync song is Still Into You by Paramore. Both Eva and Terra had a bad lip sync.
Ladies, I was certainly whelmed by that lip sync. That said, Terra, Shantae, you stay. You may go untuck backstage. Eva, I truly believe that your drag is like a flower that's just starting to bloom. Learn from this experience, take some time to grow in the sun, and then no one will be able to stop you. Now, my dear, I must ask you to sashay away.
Oh God, they're going to make fun of my drag on Reddit, aren't they?
This is Untucked.
The queens congratulate Rita for winning the challenge and Terra for surviving the lip sync. Both queens thank the group. Deoxys, Aku, Terra, Toph, Kari, and number 3 all stand together sipping their cocktails, and Toph praises Terra for winning the lip sync. Terra thanks her before adding that she hates how much her outfit held her back, since it was her first time performing in front of the judges and she knows that she was capable of more than she showed. Aku remarks that although the workroom is going to feel different without Eva, he isn't surprised to see her leave, especially after how defeated she looked all week. Deoxys and 3 nod before Kari cuts in, asking the others if they agree with all of the top placements this week. Deoxys quickly shakes his head, insisting that he was more than a little gagged when his group of queens was called safe, especially compared to some of the looks that were left on stage. Hearing this, Maximus interrupts the conversation and tells Deoxys to say their names. Rolling his eyes, Deoxys looks directly at Maximus and clearly says his name. When Maximus asks why, Deoxys replies that he doesn't think Maximus's garment is particularly glamorous and more so looks like he just glued his materials onto a corset and called it fashion. Maximus says that the judges clearly thought it was fashionable, given that they put him in the top while Deoxys, the supposed fashion queen of the season, has been just safe for the past 3 episodes. Annoyed, Deoxys quickly reminds Maximus that he was in the bottom 3 for the acting challenge, adding that he should have lip-synced against Eva instead of Quasimodo so she could have sent his annoying ass home on week 1. Deoxys goes on to say that, unlike Maximus, he actually has a challenge win, but Maximus cuts him off mid-sentence, insisting that the girl group win doesn't count because half the cast was missing. He adds that if Deoxys' only competition was someone of Quasimodo's caliber, then his win is pretty unremarkable, as Deoxys hardly needed to try. Things continue to grow more heated until Maximus stomps his hoof and says that if he has his way next week, Deoxys' win won't save him from crawling back to the insignificant dumpster he carved out of his sewage drag scene. Maximus then turns his attention to Toph, stating that the same goes for her and her shit drag since she called him out on the main stage. Toph steps forward, the earth rumbling beneath her feet, and declares that she meant what she said, adding that if Maximus wants to mess with her, then she has no problem stuffing him and his busted lace into a closed casket. Deoxys and Toph continue to argue until Maximus backs off, trotting across the room to join Rita and Ventress. Rita and Ventress, who had been chatting and quietly watching the fight unfold between Maximus and the other queens, make room for Maximus as he trots over with a huff. Rita quickly offers him a cocktail that she'd saved for him. Maximus sips it and thanks her before commenting that Toph or Deoxys need to go next week. Ventress and Rita nod in agreement, and Rita gives Maximus a wide grin, insisting that she has the perfect plan. She tells the group that if they play their cards just right, Toph and Deoxys will get exactly what they deserve. Looking intrigued, the trio begins to whisper and continue to bond for the rest of Untucked.
Don't forget to like and subscribe if you enjoy our content. Now remember, be proud, feel free, and live your life, always.